Is this a courtroom in crisis? Give me a holler. 1-877-JDM says 1-877-586-7297. Straight out to my fabulous colleague in sessions, Gene Casares. Gene, you were also here at court. It was really madness today. Give us the inside scoop on why the prosecution was so darn angry, why everybody, for that matter, was so mad today.
Well, let's start at the beginning. First of all, Jane, I want to welcome you to Orlando. I am so thrilled that you are here. We're so happy to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Now, let me tell you what happened. First of all, in regard to Dr. Bill Rodriguez, who was supposed to take the stand, well, he was deposed, but the prosecution said he wants to testify that lay people are not going to know what the order of decomposition is. So he has a problem with that. So that's that witness. Then the defense wanted to put on a DNA. Mr. Eichelboom is what they said. I think it's Dr. Eichelboom. But the issue here is that there are deadlines. Deadlines have passed. He said, the prosecutor, that he'd gotten the report yesterday, 2 pages plus a 45-picture presentation. So it's like trial by ambush. And he said, Your Honor, I have to read this. I have to look at this. And so that's when the judge got so upset, because the judge has made deadlines. Deadlines have been violated. And the judge is very strict. If you don't meet the deadlines.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're talking about what exactly did Jose Baez do wrong here. Today, he was accused of trying to bring in some expert witness, as you just heard from Gene, without giving the prosecutors enough time to prepare for an expert witness. And that's my big issue. Gene said it, trial by ambush. Is Jose Baez trying to sneak in inflammatory expert opinions that would tend to exonerate his client without giving prosecutors the time they need to investigate those opinions and therefore be able to ask smart, intelligent questions to dispute these claims on cross-examination. Remember, it only takes one zinger by the defense to shatter this very fragile prosecution theory, which doesn't include fingerprints or anything obvious. So one of these experts gets on and says something like, for example, Marcia Clark, Dr. Werner Spitz got on Saturday, and he said, well, the duct tape was put on the skull long after the child died. Wow. Well, that one comment could potentially destroy the prosecution's case, Marcia, because it's all based on premeditated murder, and the duct tape was the murder weapon. So if the prosecution doesn't have time to prepare for cross-examinations, what does that do to the prosecution? You're a famous prosecutor. You prosecuted O.J. Simpson. What does it do to the prosecution?
Well, it of course undermines the effectiveness of the prosecution, because to the extent a lawyer is not prepared for what comes out of a witness's mouth, that lawyer cannot adequately cross-examine the witness. And that's a problem. That's a big problem. That it's also obvious to me, at least watching what's been going on in this case, that Jose Baez is doing this on purpose. There's no question he knows what he's got in these witnesses. He knows what he's holding back, and he knows what he's putting on. And so he's deliberately catching the prosecution flat-footed in an effort to make sure the jury hears these things. Remember, Jane, that the defense does not have to prove anything. The defense need only raise a reasonable doubt. And in doing these kinds of attack by ambush and these innuendos that they raise, what they're trying to do is create that doubt. They don't have a burden of proof. They don't have to prove anything. They're taking full advantage of it. And it's good to see the judge putting his foot down and saying, stop it. It's not fair. This is not a search for the truth when you play this game by ambush.
J.D. Weintraub, you are close to the defense. You're a Florida criminal defense attorney. Everybody is saying dirty tricks, dirty pool, trial by ambush. Jose Baez, your buddy, is taking some hits today.
That is absolutely ridiculous. First of all, let me remind everybody that the rules of procedure do not provide that every expert has to provide a report. That's the judge's specific order, so it has to be abided by in this case. The rules do not say so. Secondly, Jose Baez only got the report 2 days before.
No, hold on. I got to stop you for a second. The rules say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gene Casares, the rules say that you have to give the other side advance notice of a new opinion and put it in a report or allow them to depose this witness so that they can be prepared. This is forensics. You cannot wing
not what the rule
forensics.
But
hold on. Let Gene.
Here's the point. Janie's right. The rule generally is that the defense doesn't have to submit a report. The expert doesn't have to submit a report. But this case is totally different because deadlines were missed several times. So the judge issued an order. It's right here. And he said, you know what, defense and prosecution, but defense, you've got to have your experts submit a report. And if the opinion they're going to testify on is not in their report or their deposition, sorry, that's it. They can't testify on it. And that's the issue we have today.
And the prosecutor chose not deliberately not to depose a defense expert. I'm trying murder cases 25 years. I have never seen a prosecutor, especially as experienced as Jeff Ashton, and he is one good prosecutor.
Okay,
I've never seen a prosecutor not take a deposition of an expert.
The Perry Mason TV show. People cannot jump out of the gallery and say, I did it, and get on the stand and be cross-examined. It doesn't work that way. It's a much more complex system, and it's a three-dimensional chess game, and the judge, it would seem, believes that at least the defense is not playing by the rules to the letter.